Welcome back to Beginner French, where we teach you French 1 week at a time in 3 minutes or less. And this week, I'm gonna kind of tell you guys French pronunciation rules that you might not really know about. These are kind of things that I wasn't ever told explicitly or understood or knew when I started learning French, and I only found out years after starting my journey, and I had no idea. Okay, so the first thing you need to know is called la liaison. You know how sometimes with French words, there may be a letter at the end that's not really pronounced. If then there's an S at the end of a specific word or a Z at the end of a specific word, you don't really pronounce it. But whenever a vowel is following that word, you actually have to pronounce it. And it basically creates a liaison, a combination. That's why they call it la liaison. And it makes the language kind of flow better and sound a lot nicer. One perfect example is the word nous. Normally you pronounce nous, you never pronounce the S at the end. But if you have avons after nous, it becomes nous avons. Nous avons. Another one is c'est. You normally never pronounce the S or the T at the end, it's just c'est. But if you say une after, you say c'est une. C'est une. You see, it kind of combines together.
Another one is for when S is in between two vowels. This is one I kind of learned because of my name. So whenever I'd introduce myself to French people or I'd type out my name, as you know, it's L-E-S-E-D. They would always say lezedi, stuff like that. And I'm like, why are they making it sound like a Z? It's an S, it's clearly an S. But yeah, fun fact. In French, if an S is in between two vowels, it basically sounds like a Z. But if you want it to sound like an S, you have to put two S's. So if it's two S's, even if it's between two vowels, it will sound like a normal S. And another thing that I didn't know is, you know how in French, if a word ends in IR, you pronounce that IR. So it's compartir or choisir. But if it ends in an ER, it becomes like a E sound. So you don't say manger, you say manger. Or you say chanter, Oh, and then of course, this one is probably the most obvious one. Another one is the R. It sounds like a R sound. Just try and make a R sound when you say R. So prendre. Make it as scratchy as you can. But yeah, that's it for this week. Cheers.